Thanks, President Ramesh Babu and Secretary Mr. Arindya Ghosh for inviting me again. Really a pleasure to be part of this group and share a bit about health and fitness, which I think is a very important topic at this point in time. So with that, I will share my screen. Can you see the slides?
Yes, Vijay.
Yeah, I see the slides. Yeah. So we did a part one of this. So we do a quick recap of what we covered for those who are not there earlier. So what the doctors and dietitians have been advising us for the last 60 years is they have been telling us three things: that we must eat less and we must produce a caloric deficit, that we must burn more calories than what we take in. They said we must move more, and that's what even now doctors keep advising everyone. And then they also said we must not eat fat, we must eat low fat or fat free. The three things that they always told us last 60 years. And in spite of all this good natured advice, the world's population has gone the last 60 years from bad to worse. They have all developed all sorts of lifestyle diseases. And if you see obesity, for example, when you compare 1975 and 1920, the incidence has increased about 6 times. All lifestyle incidents are increased by 10 times, 20 times, etc. In spite of all the advices that the doctors are giving us. So we know for sure that this advice has been a complete failure, absolute failure over the last few decades. Now, when something is going wrong in anything in life, the first step is to improve, is to first to accept it, that there's a failure. And then you have to identify what's the faults in it. Only then we can correct ourselves. Yeah. So all these advice of saying cut your calories and eat fat-free food has been a complete disaster, and that has wrecked our health, and we all suffer from lifestyle diseases. So I covered last time, put on to a complete set of rules for health. So we don't calories anymore. We just call it clean eating. Just eat good food. That's all that's necessary. Don't have to count your calories. Eat to your heart's content. Then the important point that I made last time was good calories and bad calories. So whether you take carbohydrates or proteins or fats, there are good carbohydrates, bad carbohydrates, good proteins, bad proteins. So like that is very important. However, the proportion of these three macronutrients are very important. You can't be eating overloading with one macronutrient. Typically, South Indian diet will be overloaded with carbohydrate. That's bad. But you can eat your heart's content. And then we call a rainbow diet. So micronutrients, we don't want everybody to take multivitamin tablets, but your food must contain all colors. Whether it's purple or orange, whatever color, then you know that all your micronutrients are getting. That's very important. And then I talked a bit about the gut microbiome. We all have bacteria living in our stomach, and it's important to give food for the bacteria. We call it prebiotic, and you also must eat some healthy bacteria, which we call as probiotics. So all the pickled foods will have some probiotic in them. And important that you must not starve. Any diet that leaves you starved, you're not going to sustain it. So we now know that you must eat to your heart's content. Then this concept is live food. Live food means uncooked vegetables. So that's what typically salads. So any uncooked food is an important food for a bacteria in the stomach. So we must all eat some salad at least once a day. And then we must drink a lot of water, which I'll cover briefly. And then we must not be constantly feeding. That has been a very big mistake we have been making. Dietitians have been advising us we must constantly eat small meals. That is a big wrong advice. And these are all made us very unhealthy. So we covered this slide last time. So real food is food that is grown and sold whole, variable quality, spoils fast, requires preparation usually, vibrant colors, authentically flavorful, strong regional connection. So when you have all this, it's good food. But when you eat bad food produced in a factory and sold in packages in a supermarket, it is toxic. They are all slow poisons. You cannot afford to take this anymore. They're all slow poisons. Although the companies like to tell us it contains vitamins, etc., it is all slow poisons, and we are paying a heavy price for eating such slow poisons. So to counter this, we have this template which I told you about last time. So we have a primary things that we do. We have secondary things that we do. We have tertiary things. So in this talk, I'll talk about fasting and exercise program. Okay, right. So just to cover the previous topic, for a South Indian diet, if you ask me what you should do, it's very simple. at least only 50% of your thing must be carbs, or at least 50 must be non-carbs, either proteins or fats or something. By volume, you must substitute carbs. Our diet, South Indian diet, 80-90% is carbs, and that's wrong. So healthy carbs you can take 50%. The rest 50 must be either proteins or fats. A simple thing that we have, and then we find that we are able to, solve this problem. Sorry, where is that slideshow? Okay. So these are typically, what food you like to have, non-carbs. So if you have rice, only half can be rice. The rest half of your plate must be something else, either proteins, healthy fats. Very simple thing to follow. Nothing complex, and you're not starving. And you find that hundreds of people you have seen that they get transformed. It's a simple modification in the diet. So now we call it a small plate technique. So take a small plate, half only can be carbs, whether you take chapati or idli or whatever, only half. Rest half must be proteins and fats, healthy proteins and fats. We do that, you become very healthy in a short time, and you stop eating these toxins. Next, I'll cover fluid. All of us underdrink, very important point, especially those in hot climates like in Chennai, because our body has been primed to take water when you feel thirsty, but due to air conditioning and all sorts of false temperature control, we have lost that ability to feel thirsty. So we don't drink enough water. So we advise people that they must drink at least 4 tall glasses of water when they're not thirsty. We all drink water when you're thirsty. That's very obvious. But if you're not thirsty, you must drink water. So typically in the early morning, mid-morning, mid-afternoon, late evening, 1 tall glass of water, not thirsty, very important. And we always said the good drinks are Bonvita, Horlicks, they are all big health hazards. But what we thought was wrong is actually very good. Coffee and tea is very good for health. It has got tremendous antioxidants, very good for health. So please drink black coffee, black tea without sugar, very good for health. It will improve your hydration. Now, the most important change that we have done in recent years that has really spoiled us is that we have been told to keep eating, and we constantly keep snacking. We never stop snacking. I'm sure that people who are listening to this have some snacks by their side. I'm sure they do. So that is what is really, you won't believe what a big damage that we are doing. Because for millions of years, when we are roaming the jungles, 4 million years, we have been on this planet, we got food sometimes by hunting animals or some fruits, and then we ate. And then we didn't get any food, so we starved. And then that is how we lived for 4 million years. But now suddenly, we are like an Ivy line, going on eating. Our body is not used to all this kind of constant eating. And the Americans told us that you must have 3 square meals a day. Now, no one knows the science behind this. But since Americans are doing it, everyone starts following it. 3 square meals a day. It's got no scientific basis. That has been there for the last 6 decades. They said everyone must eat 3 square meals because they wanted to sell all their breakfast cereals the world over. So they said we must eat 3 square meals a day. But recently, we have non-stop feeding. We're eating constantly without any break. And our body just not used to all this. So that's where the problem comes from. So we have snacks readily available in packets. Anytime that we can go, we can have. And then we have Zomato and Swiggy. Whenever you even a thought cross our mind, we can Swiggy anything that you want. We have microwave to do whatever. We have a refrigerator. All this we have paid a very heavy price. So these are the curses of a modern lifestyle. Our body is just not used to this. So we are paying a heavy price by lifestyle diseases. Now the important thing is, many people think that who are fat, they think they overeat. That's a wrong concept. Actually, it may not be overeating, but it's just the frequent eating that's causing them obesity. Very important point. There's a lot of patients who come to, I'm sure, Ramesh and Dr. Parsa agree. They'll say, sir, na saapradhe ille, sir. But ana gunda iruken, sir. Then the husband or wife will say, theriyama saapradanga nenikren, sir. But they're true. What they're saying is absolutely true. The only problem is that they're eating constantly, although they're eating very little. Because the body can recognize only 2 states. Either it's fasting or it's a fed state. 2 states only. There's no in between. So when you're fasting, the body tries to burn its energy because you're not getting food. And when you're eating food, the body shuts off. It will never burn its energy because, like the olden days, it thinks that you should store the energy. You should not spend that energy. So you cannot store and save at the same time. So once you eat something, you're giving a signal to the body: stop spending energy, start storing energy. So you put on fat like anything like. So only when you stop eating, the body learns to spend energy, and that's where the mistake comes from. So by keeping the body constantly at the fed state, the body does not burn any calories at all. And that's the mistake that we are making. So most people are obese, not because they're overeating, but they're eating frequently. So very important point that we must not do that. This is a very important. I think that fat people, people who are very fat, obese, will be full of calories. But that's wrong, actually. Scientifically, we have some markers for malnutrition. For example, if we're going to take a patient for surgery, elective surgery, we will do some blood test to find out this patient is well nutrition. He's obese, all right, but his nutrition level will be very poor. You'll all be surprised. We were also surprised. How can a fat person be nutritionally poor? It's malnutrition. Like in Africa, they have malnutrition. When you do these parameters, you are shocked to find. And the only answer for this is what we call as the hormonal base of obesity. Obesity is no more eating too much. It is eating wrong food, eating at the wrong time. It's nothing to do with overeating at all. And this is what we call the concept of insulin resistance. That is the fundamental basis that we are now going to talk about. So insulin resistance means if you keep on eating, you produce more insulin. And whenever there is an excess of anything, the cells will start getting resistant. If you give your children too much advice, they'll become resistant to your advice. So if you have too much of anything, resistance will develop. So we all develop insulin resistance. And therefore, what we do, we cannot utilize the sugar. So we feel more tired and hungry. So we eat more. And this vicious cycle keeps going on and on. And that is the reason why people are obese. Not because they're eating more at all. So we call this now as the body's fat bank. So body's fat bank is you eat especially processed carbohydrates, high sugar level, high insulin, and therefore you find the insulin resistance, feel tired, hungry, you eat more. And our body has got this fat reserves. Now once you develop resistance, insulin resistance, the fat can go and get deposited in the body, in the abdomen, etc., but cannot take it out. Only one-way entry. So it keep on eating food, fat, but you cannot use the fat because you have insulin resistance. And that is why a lot of people suffer from this abdominal obesity, we call it. A lot of our peers have this, and that's a real lifestyle problem that we have. So now we come to the concept of intermittent fasting. Now intermittent fasting, people think it's a new fad. It's not all a fad. All world religions have fasting. There is no religion in the world which does not have fasting. So we have been doing it for thousands and thousands of years. It is not a fad as we think. And it has got some amazing benefits. So everyone must fast at least 12 hours a day. That is fundamental. If you want more benefits, you must extend the fast beyond 12 hours. And if you don't fast for 12 hours, you're sort of insulting your body all the time by giving it food constantly. So late dinner, I'm sure we all suffer from that. We all eat a late dinner because we're busy. Very bad habit. Because late dinner, early breakfast, you don't get the 12 hours break your body needs. Minimum 12 hours break. That's very important. Now, as I told you, the earlier advice of eat less, exercise more, you lose weight. But once you lose weight, what happens? You find the body enters into a starvation mode. Then the amount to put on weight, the number of calories required is much more. Then you start becoming fat, and then you go through a guilt cycle. Whereas fasting is quite different. It is not like this at all. Yeah, fasting, what happens? The BMR, or the basic metabolic rate, remains higher. So it's not like giving less calories. Fasting is completely different, and such a healthy thing to do. And we must all be fasting. Now, only when you start fasting, your body learns to burn its fat. As long as you keep giving it glucose, it will not burn fat. And that's the reason why some people find it very difficult to lose weight, because the body doesn't know how to burn fat. So we now compare this to petrol car, and now we have all these battery cars. So a battery car is the one that can use fuel. Now we must all be sort of a combination between the two. When we have food or carbs, we can take petrol. But when you don't have food, when you are in fasting mode, your body must learn to burn its own fat reserves, not outside fat. The fat that we have stored in the body, by ketone bodies, it will burn. And that's the only way how we'll become healthy is to utilize our own fat. And what is the beauty of this is you will never feel tired again. Once you start to understand, body understands to burn fat, it will never become tired again because you have got this beautiful nutrition sitting inside your body itself. So you don't have to. So from a fat adapter, you have to become a fat adapter from a sugar burner. We have to learn to store the fat. Now, storing fat in the belly is a very, very bad thing to do. Very bad thing to do. It's like a time bomb sitting there. You're asking for a heart attack. You're asking for a stroke. So anybody who's got a big belly is asking for a heart attack or a stroke. That's where all the inflammation goes on. All sorts of things goes on. So belly fat is not just an ugly appearance. It's a time bomb sitting for everyone. So anyone who has got a belly fat like this, abdominal obesity is sitting on a time bomb. So if you have more fat in the belly, you'll have equal number of fat inside your abdomen, what we call as visceral fat around the organs. And these are very, very bad things to have. So you must, when you starve or when you underdo the calories, the usual advice, and you don't eat well, you'll be constantly thinking of food. You'll be, you'll have hunger pangs. But once you start fasting, you will not get hunger at all because your body burns its own fat for reserves. So those of you who know what fasting is, you will know it's really like a miracle. You never feel hungry or tired because the body is utilizing its fat. There are other uses of fasting, and that we call autophagy. Autophagy means all the bad cells in our body. Some cells will be damaged, will not be good, will have some pre-cancerous, early cancer thing and all that. So if you fast, all the body will eat the defective cells itself. It's called autophagy. But for autophagy, you need to have a minimum 24 hours fast. Therefore, all religions, not commonly, maybe once a month, once in 2 months, it's good to go on a 24-hour fast where you will get rid of all your bad cells. The best protection against cancer is not any medicine, but a minimum 24-hour fast called as an autophagy fast. That's the best protection that you have against all forms of cancer. So autophagy has got a lot of other benefits, which I will now skip through for the interest of time. Now, the diet alone cannot make you healthy. You must also have exercise. That's very important. That's absolutely important. Now, doctors say that any exercise is good exercise. Just keep climbing stairs instead of taking a lift, you will become healthy. That again that's again not true. It's like saying you take some tablet, take some red color tablet, you'll become fine. You have to be more specific on what are we trying to achieve by exercise. So that's very important. So I will come to that. So the minimum, if you're serious about your health, is the minimum that you must have. You must have nowadays a modern health watch, or a health tracker. That's a must. Now people, a good one will cost about 8,000, 9,000. Now many people will say, "Rumba costly, sir." But they will go and buy a music system for their car for 80,000 rupees without blinking an eyelid. But they won't buy something for their own health for 8,000 rupees. But that's the, sort of a very tragedy that we see. You must have a measuring tape. You must have a digital scale, and you must have some kind of weights. These are absolutely essential for everyone to maintain health. Now, there are 4 components to exercise. That is the commonest mistake people make is they overdo one component. You will have the Chennai Runners Club. I'm sure everyone will have the Chennai Runners Club in their own locality. And every morning they run. You'll think they're all healthy. I'm sorry to say they're not healthy at all because they do only one part of the program. And therefore their heart muscle is weak. And suddenly one day they're running, they will die. They'll fall down dead because they're not concentrating on all the aspects of fitness. So there are 4 aspects of fitness. The first is stamina and endurance. For example, running will give you stamina and endurance. Then you need flexibility and mobility. You need muscle strength and bulk. And you need to burn fat and calories. So 4 components to fitness. Now all these individuals are all Olympic athletes, you see here. But they're all poor examples of fitness. Each one has one component is very good, but the other components are very bad. Therefore, they're poor examples of health. So don't fall into the trap of doing some exercise only. You must make sure that you must have a balanced exercise program. Now, for example, tennis athletes, for example, they usually will have all these 4 components very good because they need all 4 components in their sport. Basketball is another example. Now, how do we get this? Now, flexibility and mobility is, yoga, calisthenics, Pilates, etc. will give you anything that you like. Tai Chi, for example, will give you only one component. People think if you do yoga, you're healthy. If you do yoga, you'll get one component. You'll get this flexibility and mobility component. And then stamina and endurance, you need to do some kind of cardio, as we call it. You need to walk, jog, run, swim, do something. So to build up your cardio, that's very important. And HIIT stands for high intensity interval training. So interval training is very important to burn fat. I'll cover this a bit later. And the fourth component is everybody must do some resistance exercises for weights. There's no compromise on that. You just keep on running, you will become weak, your heart muscle will become weak. So you must have a balanced exercise program. Very important for all age groups. So I'll cover this later. So this is the cardio exercises, whether you swim or jog or run. It's like the called aerobic metabolism. So if you eat in chicken, you will know that the chicken leg will have red meat. So that is the type of muscle fiber that you develop when you do cardio exercises. Okay. Now, if you have a smartwatch like this, it will tell you what is your VO2 max. VO2 max is how fit you are. It is like the horsepower of a car. So you got a very ready-made thing sitting on your wrist saying, are you getting fit or not getting? Now we want a scientific basis to everything. So your VO2 max, which your smartwatch will tell you whether you're doing exercise correctly, whether your cardio, so that your VO2 max is increasing or not. If it's not increasing, you're not doing exercise correctly. And many people will come to us, doctors, and say, sir, kitchen sir, weight sir. It's true they're working, but they're not doing the correct form of exercise. And therefore, it's a waste of time, really. So the VO2 max, such an important parameter now. If you don't have a high VO2 max, you can have heart disease, you can have a stroke, you can have all sorts of problems. So please invest in yourself. Please buy a very good watch, a fitness tracker. So important to do exercise on a scientific basis. Now, next we go to the exercise with weights or resistance exercises. Now, if you have eaten chicken, again, you see the breast chicken, the white in color. That is the type 2 fibers. Now, that fiber will develop only if you do weights. You can run from here to Delhi and come back, but you will not even recruit one muscle fiber, one type 2 muscle fiber. So that fiber comes only when you do weights or some kind of resistance exercises. So you must have either some dumbbells, some kettlebells, or go to a gym, or just have a school bag with some books inside. You must do some kind of resistance exercises for your type 2 muscle fibers. Otherwise, you're not doing a balanced program. We'll skip that. So you must have some kind of resistance at home or gym or somewhere to have a balanced exercise program. Always people ask this doubt, should older people do weights? The answer is a yes. So if you, with increasing age, you'll find that that your muscles start degenerating. This we call as age-related sarcopenia. So right from 40 years onwards, our muscles will start decreasing. Just to prevent that loss, you need to do weight exercises. Now you find that Indian women, for example, never will do weights. And that's the reason why they have sarcopenia and osteoporosis. Bones will become weak. Many people think if you eat calcium, your bones will become strong. Completely wrong. Only when your muscles become strong, your bones will become strong. So it's very important that you must do resistance exercises to make your muscles strong and therefore your bones strong. There's the only way of strengthening bone and muscle. No amount of calcium will strengthen any bone. So it's important that as you're older, not only you must have, longevity is important, but having healthy years to your life is more important than longevity by itself. Very important. Now, what are the mobility exercises? These are common exercises, common between all the, whether it's calisthenics, yoga and all that. This boat hold, doing plank exercises, etc. Everything is available online, but you must do some kind of mobility exercises so that your joints are flexible and they don't get injured. Very important. Balance, again, is part of mobility program. And we even say, suppose you're cooking in the kitchen, you must try and stand on one leg so that your balance improves. Constantly, you must be at it. So all these things are there. How to improve your balance. Everything is available online. You can warrior 3 pose or a stork pose or a flamingo. Everything you keep doing at least once in 2 days so that your balance. Now, old people will not have balance. That's the reason they fall and they break their bones. Now, as you keep getting better and better, you can go to more advanced courses. Everything is available online and you can refer to this. But these are the basic concepts that you must understand. Now, the plank time, I'm sure I might have heard of the plank time. Plank time is a very important, it shows how good your core is. Core is the muscle that is shown in red here. The front, the core, the back core. The core is the fundamental, base on which our body is built. So if you have a weak core, you cannot be healthy. Your body cannot be healthy. So it's very important that you build up your core strength. The commonest way to build a core strength is keep this plank position. A plank position, your buttocks must be parallel. It cannot be like this. And once you do that, your plank time improves. You'll find your core strength improves. Once your core strength improves, you can start working on other muscle groups. So before strengthening any muscle group of the body, a fundamental principle is to strengthen your core. So refer online, see how you can strengthen your core. That's the basis on which you can develop any muscle strengthening program. I told you about HIIT, high intensity interval training. Now this is called as doing weights for the heart. So instead of just running, you must do sprints for a short time and then relax for some time. Sprint for short time or cycling, bursts for some time, short. Again, your smartwatch, your fitness tracker will tell you how to do it. Interval training. And once you do that, it will burn fat like butter. You can lose fat, especially your resistant belly fat can just go away in no time if you start doing this high. It's been really a game changer, this HIIT or the high intensity interval training. Now, people who have resistance abdominal fat, even if they do cardio, they may not get rid of it. But when they do HIIT, they'll be able to get rid of the abdominal fat. Very important. Now, what exercises to do for the heart? Now, if you want to know how good your heart is, you don't need to do any fancy scan. If you look at your peripheral muscle in your upper limbs or your lower limbs, you know how good your heart is. Now, this guy is a sumo wrestler. You know his heart is full of fat. This lady is a long distance runner. She has got a very weak heart. Heart is there. Now, this guy is built muscle. His heart is again very weak. He's got hypertrophic failure of the muscle. Whereas this guy, who's a fast sprint runner, he's got the best heart because you can see his muscles are well toned. You automatically know that your heart is well. So you don't have to look at any fancy scan. Look at how your muscle is. It tells you how good or bad your heart is. So the muscle is a mirror image of what your heart is. So whatever you do to tone up your muscles well, you're doing very good things for the heart, not just for looks, but that's how your heart is. Now, when you do any exercises, you must be careful that you don't lose muscle. Initially, when you're fat, you'll have initial weight loss. When you do all these things, you're very happy. But after a certain point, if you don't do it on a scientific basis, you start losing muscle. That's a very dangerous thing to do. So you must learn what type of exercise to do, what to eat, how to dial it, and how much to fast. So dialing all these three variables, we have to learn how to lose fat but preserve muscle. So once you, after the initial honeymoon phase is over in weight loss, you must be worried about losing muscle. So you must be careful that you don't lose muscle. And a good way of keeping track is always measuring your muscle bulk by using a tape. Simple things. So that's sort of a balanced chart. Like your diet, you must have a diet, a chart for your exercises. You must have cardio or resistance training, a HIIT program. You must do some kind of stretching exercises. So how much you do? Minimum 150 minutes a week. That's compulsory for everyone. So minimum 150. If you have a balanced exercise program, you are well on your way to health. You eat clean food, you are well on way to health. You fast, then your health is done. You'll become an extremely healthy person. So very simple things to do. So if you don't do all these things, you develop all sorts of lifestyle disorders, neurological disorders, type 2 diabetes, all sorts of joint pain that we see. Ramesh Babu, Parsardi, we all see this. They come with vague symptoms. They don't have any joint problem. They have this metabolic syndrome, depression. A lot of people go into depression. And we think that we can solve all this problem by taking tablets. No, you cannot change, you cannot solve them because the lifestyle disease. The only way you can solve this problem is by changing your lifestyle. So what you eat, how much you drink, what exercises you do, and how you do your fasting. All these things are what determines how you are going to be healthy. You have to address the root cause. Just by taking tablets, you're not going to get anywhere. So this is the sort of the last slide that we have the scientific template now. So you can see the diet. You must have a 3 macro. All macros must be there, must be balanced, must be natural food, not artificial food. And then you must have a pan micronutrient rainbow diet. So all sorts of colors, at least weekly once. Avoid any harmful food, packaged food. You must have pre and probiotics. You must consume water, and you must good to drink teas and coffee. Drink water before and after meals. And then I told you about these 4 components of the exercise program. Absolutely important. You must make sure you address all 4 components. Daily intermittent fasting, minimum 12 hours. If you need more health benefits, lose weight, you have to extend it to 14, 16 hours. Periodic autophagy fasts. So this we have covered the primary part of it. And if we get a chance, I will cover the secondary ones. So I think that's about time, Ramesh.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bose. It was excellent. So a lot of thoughts you have given to us, and I'm sure all our Geminians will be benefited by your approach. So we'll ask a couple of questions. Can you stop screen sharing?
I will do that, yeah. Stop share, yeah. Yeah, done, yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Can we, there are a couple of questions, you are most welcome. Unmute yourself, Parsarli. Mute-la தான் இருக்கீங்க. Mute-la தான் இருக்கீங்க.
Unmute தான் இருக்கிறேன். கேக்குதா?
பேசுங்க பேசுங்க. இப்ப கேக்குது.
ஓகே. இது ஒரு சிம்பிள் क्वेश्चन. என்னன்னா இப்போ we are all at least 10% of our population is diabetic. One of the most important thing is not to starve too much, but to have 8-hourly food. நீங்க சொல்றத பார்த்தா 12 hours fasting அப்புறம் அடுத்த 12 hoursல ஒரு தடவை தான் சாப்பிடணும்னு சொன்னாக்கா it becomes unphysiological.
Can I answer that? So we have had a rise in diabetes. நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா diabetes is an epidemic. So the concept diabetologists have is completely wrong. அவங்க எல்லாரும் இன்சுலின் போடணும், இது சாப்பிடணும்ன்றது வந்து is completely wrong. It has not worked. Diabetes is just shooting through the roof. You have to sit back and ask, why is it happening? Diabetes is a dietary disease. So if you do all this, I told last time, I will give you in writing, you will not develop diabetes. Because, you know, the very simple thing, you do fasting insulin. Fasting insulin, if it is high and you do all the dietary changes, then you will not develop diabetes. So it's not, the only thing that anti-diabetic medicines do is it lowers the blood sugar level. Just like you take paracetamol, it reduces it is not a treatment. It only drives the glucose intracellularly. It is not treating the disease. It's making it worse. Insulin is making the disease worse. So dietary disease must be treated by diet. But your diabetologists on the dietary control matanga. They'll keep on giving one drug after one drug after one drug. I'm sure you all agree to that. And that's the reason why diabetes goes on a real thing. So at parts of now, so many diabetes I have treated. So many diabetics, they have reversed the diabetes. They have reversed the diabetes. Provided your pancreas is still okay, you don't need to take any more anti-diabetic medicines. You follow all this, and fasting is an important part of management of diabetes. Your body will learn to handle its sugar, but you have never given it a chance to handle its sugar. I did so many patients. So diabetic code book வாங்கி படிங்க. Diabetic code book, அதுல எல்லாமே போட்டிருக்கு. Jason Fong.
Sir, by 9 o'clock night, if you eat, again by next day, okay, morning, 1 apple and 1 water bottle by 10 o'clock, sir. Okay. Okay, sir. Sir, a small question, sir.
சொல்லுங்க சார், கேக்கல. 9 o'clock சாப்பிடுங்க நைட்.
9 o'clock dinner.
சரி.
Okay, and an apple in the morning by 10 o'clock. 1 apple and 1 water bottle, and again lunch by 2 o'clock. It's good.
Well, food is a signal. Food வந்து number of calories மட்டும் கிடையாது, signal. So apple is a good thing to eat. But once you eat that apple, you have told the body, I have got food now. So please stop burning calories. You have given the signal to the body.
Okay.
So although you ate a very healthy apple, you have given a wrong signal to the body.
Okay, okay.
So if your BMI is higher, I would suggest that you skip that also.
Okay.
You skip
By
that
2
also.
o'clock, but lunch 2 hours better.
Every 12 hours the fasting works. You cannot have a fast
Okay.
for 6 hours. That's not fasting.
Okay.
12 hours the fast starts. But
Okay.
12 hours kapro, every hour that you prolong, you will get more benefits.
Okay.
You get more benefits. Yeah. So, 9 o'clock சாப்பிட்டீங்கன்னா at the afternoon 12 o'clock சாப்பிடுங்க. You'll find that it gives you such a big health benefit. First 15 days will be difficult. And then your body learns to burn fat. You won't become tired at all. Your own fat will get burned. You get a lot of energy. You'll be energy all the time. But once your body doesn't know to burn its fat, you'll feel so weak. You have to depend on outside food all the time. But once you have food inside utilized, your fat cells, you won't feel hungry at all. And we have seen it so many times. I don't eat breakfast for the last 3 years.
Yes, sir.
We never eat,
Me
never
too,
feel.
sir.
We operate from morning, nothing happens. We are so full of energy actually.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Vijay sir, Dr. Vijay sir.
Yes, please.
I am Ratan Srinivas Rao.
Yes, sir.
Sir, actually, my question is, I am diabetic in the beginning stages, or sir, my level is around 180 after food from last 6, 7, 8 years. Mornings it will be 100, instead of 100 it will be around 130 or so from last 7, 8 years. Okay, actually 2 years back, I went to a yoga session wherein they have given me very good practices, which my sugar levels, I was taking only glucagon G2 for morning and night. And suddenly we have felt the levels are coming down after a year. That is 2019, I have done yoga sessions, doing now also. So 2020, because of this lockdown or whatever, so full control by the yoga sessions. So my sugar levels almost has come down by February, March. Now it has touched my normals. And then because there's a diet, you have to control the diet and everything, they took the in charge because we are at home only, lockdown, because of lockdown. So it has come almost to the normals. And then after this lockdown is over, again it has come to little bit more with half a tablet. So my question here is, you said it can be reversed. Can I reverse, because I am from 7, 8 years, I've already reversed to some extent. Can I, if I try for, because I'm doing yoga and everything, because of whatever they have taught, it's all with the stomach and those things, yoga breathing for 1 hour.
Let me answer that. Yeah. So, over disease management. This is universal. So whether you have heart disease, whether you have diabetes, whether you have obesity, whether you have depression, whether you have joint pains, the treatment is the same. Same fundamental concepts. So yoga you must do cardio, you must do strength training, you must do HIIT for exercise. Diet also important, and intermittent fasting also is important. Same, it's the same disease manifesting as different things. One disease, where manifestation. Now, to find out whether your diabetes is reversible or not, fasting insulin pananunga. Fasting insulin. I'm sure your is panirukka matanga. You poi nalai fasting insulin panunga nalla lab la. If it is high, normal range is 3 to 24. If it is high, you are very lucky. I will give you in writing. You can reverse your diabetes fully. That means your pancreas function, the insulin produced by the pancreas, that function is good. So if you just follow the lifestyle modifications, your diabetes will go away for sure. Anna, if your fasting insulin is low, that means that all your cells have been burnt out. Then you don't have any insulin producing capacity in your body. Then you cannot reverse the disease. But as the capacity is there, you can reverse the disease. We've done for hundreds of people now.
So
diabetes is not the answer for diabetes.
Okay.
It only brings the blood sugar low. It's not an answer to diabetes. But all these dietary lifestyle changes is the answer for diabetes. Diabetes banna, blood sugar comes down. That's not the treatment for diabetes. This is the treatment for diabetes. Lifestyle change is the treatment for diabetes.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So, and just one more question. As you said in the mornings, before, if I take, it will be around 124. 100 should be there, it should be 124. But after 2 hours, 140 should be there, it may be touching 135 or 140 only. So after the food, this one will come to 135 or 140, at the max 150. Because 140, this is the parameter. This comes around 140 or 150, but morning only, early morning, after exercise. I don't do anything before that.
I think your insulin function is good. Your pancreas function is good. நீங்க fasting insulin பண்ணுங்க. நீங்க you can sure tell it to me anytime, and I will tell you what to do. I'm sure we can reverse your diabetes. I guarantee you that. Yeah.
Thank you. So kind of you.
So fasting insulin பண்ணிட்டு டாக்டர் விஜய் போஸ் கிட்ட ஒரு அப்பாயின்ட்மென்ட் வாங்கி பாருங்க.
Okay, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Vijay. It was excellent. I'm sure it will change our attitude towards all these lifestyle diseases. And I think every one of us will follow. And you have to spread this message to all the youngsters also. And I mean, I'm a diabetic and I'm using insulin, but I don't know how to go about it. I will try all your methods and I will come back to you for your suggestion. Thank you. Thank you.
Your inspiration as always, Ramesh.